With doing the live feed in a horizontal format. Let me just turn my microphone up here a little bit. In a horizontal format so that it's maybe a little bit easier for folks to catch in on what's going on here. I'm hoping my audio is coming through all right. It sounds a bit muted in my ears. Okay, let's work that. Hope that's working correct. I'll wait until a couple of people are online and can confirm the audio, and then we'll get going and have a look at what we're going to be doing this evening. Yeah, I'll get this thing in its bracket while we get warmed up here. So hopefully, if this worked out okay, the video went out about 25-30 minutes ago. I had a little bit of a problem kind of getting myself set up here, but got there in the end. So hopefully we've got we've got somebody online. Excellent, great. I'm looking for an audio check at the beginning of this live stream before we start moving around too much. Oh, cool. Great. This is my cunning plan to... I was going to do a couple live streams in the last couple of days, and I kept sort of getting waylaid by things that happen along the way when you're trying to sort out anything. So I thought if I build it so that I'm doing the look around on deck and the video and everything, and then go straight into the live stream, then I just can't get my evening broken up too badly. When it's like an hour of making videos and stuff, and then give people an hour to come and find me on the boat, they'll find me. All right, so I don't know if anybody saw the video and was watching the. Hello, Trevor. How's it going, man? Look, I got my piece of mainsail track, so we're actually ready to go now. I always feel like I want to walk around and have a coffee with me when I'm doing these, but the chance of tripping over and staining the deck massively with coffee is just too manifold. So yeah, the mainsail track piece up there now. I'm going to go up and get the mainsail connected. There's no more there's no more wind coming the next couple of days, so I can get it up there. But when you've got a big flat top mainsail like this one, like the back of the is here, right? It's 2 meters, 6 feet away from the sail is where the flat top goes up. If that's up and pretty much up, I know, 1.5 foot above that that bit that's missing on the track, suddenly the boat alongside the dock has got like quite a large sail up, and you can end up getting pushed around. So very interested not to have that happen. But if there's only light winds between now and departure, then not so much of a problem. What else we got going on? Oh yeah, the handles that I was talking about in the video, they're down here. I guess I probably should put some little dots through them, just check all the alignments, make sure everything's where I want it to be, and then mark those out and get them inside the boat and away. I was going to go and do some more work on this repair on the side of the boat. I'm actually more interested in making sure that the body filler is like completely set hard and dry. There's no cavities in it or anything. It's just a patch repair, as I said, so happy to do that. And then yeah, she's looking pretty good here. It's an opportunity, I think, with these videos to go and have a wander around. Oh, loads of people filling in here. This is great. Hello, everybody. Let me have a quick see. I'll press some buttons here, make sure. There we go. Yeah, so that's interesting. I was having a think with what's your go-to for getting rust off stainless? Oh, dude. Fancy chemical, man. That's it. Look, I'm going to talk to you about the back of the boat, and then I'll show you a product which I've been using. You can only get here in France, and it cleans stainless like Zappo. Though, for God's sakes, put some polish on afterwards. That interesting idea, hey, of cutting the back of the boat off. We need to talk about that. I'd love to get your opinions on that. There's an aesthetic to it, but there's a practicality as well. Having the ability to climb out of an escape hatch at the back of the boat and have a life raft tucked into the back of the boat is manifest, right? I really would like to have that. It's a bit more open 60, but there's a reason why open 60s have that kind of thing. Stainless steel. So these plates at the bow were covered in rust, as were all the fittings, as was the deck and everything else. And here in France, you can buy a chemical which I can't get in Canada. Not too surprised. They're very conservative about chemicals and getting access to chemicals in Canada, unless it's recreational, of course. But this one is here in France, and I have noticed it completely removes anti-foul if you let it drip down. Oh, going the wrong way. See, everything in its place. Never place for everything. here's my polishers for stainless steel, and then here's this stuff. If you give me a second to put my glasses on, put you into the mount here, I will read off the side of it and tell you what it is. Alrighty. It's almost organized. How's that? Oh, nearly straight. I don't know why I'm worrying about straight on a channel which is about sailing. There's going to be a lot of bad camera angles coming up in the next couple of weeks. All right, that'll have to do. We need glasses. The only thing we might be lacking here is the ability to translate to English, which normally happens with the camera on the phone, of course. Matt Chem Marine. Hang on, where's the... these guys. Right, okay, and then the active ingredient. I'll tell you now, is don't get it on your hands. I've experienced that already. I've got... I had to make a purchase the other day. I feel like a grandma, but it's such light, like deprived environment here. Sometimes just like I cannot bloody see what it is that's written on here. Causes severe burns. Phosphoric acid. Phosphoric acid, that's what it is. Yeah, it makes your hands feel like a particular way, you know what I'm saying? Put that back down. Right, so let's... Now I know, that's good, I didn't know that before either. But yeah, it's an absolute nightmare on your hands and what have you, so... here we go. I gotta make sure I tap when it's in this feed this way up vertical. The chat is there all the time. Hello Ken. The chat is always this way up and it's always present. I got to keep touching the screen to make sure how things are going here. This is great, filling up 10 people already. That's awesome. So what have we been doing? I'm speaking to you now via Starlink. So the Starlink is now wired into the boat and has got its own switch. It's just mounted on deck, like doing its thing. Like, I'm not sure if anybody's got Starlink on their boat. It's frighteningly cheap. And for the potential for what it does, at the moment, it's just sitting here on the side deck, which is a bit rude, to be honest, and leaves the window open. I've been just using it at sea, like sat at the back on a beanbag, but I've got this mount on the back of the boat, which is from an old satellite system that was on here. So the obvious thing is you get a very long cable with the Starlink is to run that cable all the way through the boat and have it come up there. Okay, great, we can do that, not a problem. Problem was previously I was running it off 110 volts, which this boat is 110, and then it was pulling a lot of power. It's pulling a lot of power because you're trying to invert from 24 to 110 to back to what is like 5 or 6 volts or something that it needs. So I purchased a little converter, I'll show you later on, a little like white brick. It looks the same as the 110 one, but it's just got a couple leads coming out of it because it's a USB PC compatible charger. So it takes almost any voltage up to I think 36 volts and converts it to exactly what the Starlink Mini needs. So that's why I didn't now say it's got its own switch. So we are on batteries. We are talking via Starlink. We are streaming like this. We've got the kind of the thing down. We're doing the videos and everything else. We are Go Cat Go. We've got say 2 free places on the Newport Bermuda and 2 who seem to be up in the air a little bit. I talked to the organizers of the Newport Bermuda. Let's sit down for a second. It's been pretty hectic and it's going to be hectic. We've got time for a bit of a chat. I talked to the organizers of the Newport Bermuda race, and they say that hang on, there's a coffee around here somewhere. As if I need a coffee after the way I'm going already. I'll find the coffee. I talked to them and they said that they're happy to take the application for the race, as you might imagine. I had intended to enter us in the I can't find the coffee. Enter us in the super yacht division, but there's only ourselves and one other boat that was going to be in the super yacht division. So that's not going to happen. So instead, we're going to go in. I think we're going to go in Cap Finisterre. There's 2 divisions in the Newport Bermuda race. There's the one which is like super pro and super sharpened kind of campaigns aimed towards getting setting great times and trying to win overall the Newport Bermuda race on corrected time, a lot of those boats are suited to the rules. I think we'd be better to go in Cap Finisterre division, which is a bit more Corinthian, because whilst we do have a potentially very fast boat, we cannot go fast when we have a load of people on board who have just joined the boat. Let me just look at the chat here. So it's yeah, where's the glasses? I had to make this realization the other day that, like, basically if I don't have my glasses, like, I can't see. It's a bit of a worry, really. I probably tell you that every day. I think you're not actually on the headset mic. Oh, hang on. Oh, really? Stand by for action. Thank you very much for helping me out with that. Let me just do a bit of a check here. Oh, hang on. Oh, this is going to be revolutionary. Was it on the phone? Okay, is that better? I was wondering what was going on. That's why I kept going for the volume on this headset. It's here on the side. Luckily, the phone's got pretty good audio, so this will make it easier when I walk away and what have you. What was I talking about? Yes, so we were going to be in the super yacht division for the Newport Bermuda race, specifically because I've done Gibbs and Cap Finisterre divisions previously, and when you're in a boat which is an offshore boat that's got an offshore rating, like we can do hundreds and hundreds of miles a day, obviously, it recognizes the boat as a machine being driven by a group of professionals. And when we come on board and we've only had 3 days of training with the crew that joins me for that, that's just not fair. It's not a viable way that the boat can be driven with amateurs on board. That's what it is. You're an amateur to something until you get used to it. Even if you're been sailing for years, you get on a new boat, you're amateur with that boat, aren't you? So the key thing for me now is to decide which division we want to be. I think maybe Cap Finisterre, which is a bit more Corinthian. There's all sorts of interesting things in there, and we enjoy that, and maybe don't get socked so far down the results. Otherwise, what happens is we go sprinting off with all these other boats, which then just walk away from us because they can immediately sail through the night with a spinnaker up, which we just can't do on the first couple of goes out when we've got a new crew. So Cap Finisterre, I imagine, so that is going to be $6,185 US, the entry to that race is. It's kind of crazy. Okay, that's good. Let's make sure on the thing here. Looking forward to the crossing, Chris. Hey, it's Steve from Fort Lauderdale. Hello, man. Yeah, so it's I will make the final decision when we get there. I think the only thing that limits us is that you can't have any professionals on board if you're doing the Cap Finisterre division, unless it's the owner, which is fine because I'm driving the boat. I'm going to be on board. That's not an issue. We did that with Challenger a few times, so that's what's happening there. So get some people on board for that, and the money that we've got coming in now, we've got 4 here coming in. That'll allow us to pay for the entry to the race, pay all the sailmaker, pay the marina final bill, and probably put some in the kitty towards servicing the life rafts when we get back to Canada. I think that's an important thing. If we want to do some work in the boatyard in Portland, we're going to need to start to get going with the Transatlantic Voyage sponsorship. I think we can, by the time we filled that out over here, the Transatlantic, there's 2 on here now. I know Jeff really wanted to do it as well. If we can get the Transatlantic one going, we've got enough money to do the rigging on the boat. And while the riggers are doing the rigging on the boat itself is not doing anything. So there's a lot of time there to do work on the boat. So we'll have a see. Maybe we can't do the alteration to the back of it right now, but it's interesting to say, okay, we'll look at those chain plates when we do the back of the boat. What we can do now is get the repair on the side done and get a wrap down the side of the boat and get the deck painted. So if we have painted deck, get the wrap done, and have the mast, be painting the mast as well, of course, and put the rigging on it, the boat's going to look absolutely fantastic at that point. Would you need a professional mate? When we go sailing on this thing, we're in a situation where I used to have a charter business, and when you're doing charter and you're offering people something where they're coming on board as passengers, you come under, I was under British flag, something called MGM 195, which is to do with the amount of manning that you have to have on board the boat for it to be commercially viable. When we're coming doing this now, I'm a solo sailor with people coming on board as sponsors. So the key thing for me right now is to try and keep down the costs that are going out so that all money that comes in goes towards having the the stuff on board the boat and get the boat sorted out. So when I had the charter business, we had professional mates on board that, and we had professional skippers. I wasn't even on the boat. We had 2-3 boats. Now it's just me again. I'm not taking on board anybody as a professional mate, because it's a situation where it's probably like 5 days at sea, in every 3 months or something like that. You can't build a relationship on that. You need to employ somebody the entire time. And if they're coming on board only for 5 days, people that are coming on board this boat, Ken's already sailed like 2 Transatlantics with me and fast nets and God knows what. He's done loads of watches through the night. So because it's a private enterprise and not a commercial business, we just have to have people that are appropriately qualified and appropriately skilled to run the boat. So I would love to get to a bit where there's no, you know what? I used to always say that. I'd love to get to the bit where there's professional support. I'd love to get to the bit where I don't need any support. That's the bit where I want to get to. Like, I used to have an office with 3 or 4 people working in it, and we needed 300 people a year to come on board the boat to run the business, and so a lot of admin and everything else. The admin's up here now. Like, Johnny got in contact the other morning. He's like, hey, I was going to do it. I wasn't going to do it. Now I'm definitely going to do it. And I was like, great. We chatted. I put his name on the board. That's it. That's the crew. He's there. He's sorting out the money. So I'm trying to reduce everything down. And the thing for me also with this boat is that if I know every single system myself, like down to the nuts and bolts, then if anything goes wrong at sea, I know not only how to fix it, but like also where all of the tools are that fixes that thing. Every single bit and bob of equipment that's required to fix any system, how they can be interconnected with each other, all that kind of stuff. So it's a situation where I like the work. I would say this, there's a rule in looking after boats at 60 foot, one person looks after 60 foot. That particularly is when you're talking about things like little private yachts and what have you, where you've got nice interior finishing, you've got to chamois all the decks, you've got to keep things clean and tidy. This is a different operation. There's a lot less going on inside, although there's a lot of work at the moment to get things fixed up. There's not that much going on inside in terms of looking after the boat. So from that point of view, there's not that much work for 2 folks. So, hey, I tell you what we've got to do. We've got to stop talking so much. We've got to get on with some work, because we are doing pretty well here with all the work that's going on, but we do also face a few existential threats. Let me just get this mount sorted out. Just talk amongst yourselves while I get this sorted out a second. It's a very nice moment when you learn to relax a little bit with this this content style, so that you can just do work and not be worried about moving everything around. Right, I've literally got the battery pack sorted out here, so we can't have phone go flat. We've made that mistake previously. Battery pack engaged. Light has been fitted to the boat. Oh, I have to turn its switch on though. Thanks. Right. This one I think will be too bright. That's not too bad, is it? I think that might be a bit over the top though. Right. Maybe we can turn this back down a bit. How's that? That's not looking too bad. Hey, so this is where we're going to be working. And the reason for this, I think these are actually dimmable, these lights, so let's dim that down a bit. Great. We actually have very little power on board the boat right now. The issue is singular, and that is that the boat is not connected to the dock for power. And I've been using the solar panels pretty much exclusively. Oh, we're gonna need a bit more light than this though. This feels a bit too dark. Hang on, we're short on power, but we're not that short on power. We're getting better. Yeah, okay. I think I've got one more answer that can help further. We've got a singular issue, which is that we're not connected to the dock. We're not charging from the dock, although I don't have any kind of like religious reason why we're not doing that. It's just that the boat's charger for the 24-volt system used to be 220. The whole boat was set up for operations in Europe. There was a 220-volt charger, and it was charging the 24-volt battery bank. Since we've moved everything over to 110 volts to suit the fact that I'm in North America most of the time, I like the fact that 110 is a lower voltage to have in the bilges. I like 24 volts because it's lower amperage, and I like 110 volts because it's lower voltage. You don't get zapped by things in the bilges. I've actually had a very serious electrocution event previously from 220 volts when I worked on super yachts. So I say this with some caution. But when we changed over, suddenly the 220 volt charger became kind of redundant. And we're just not in Europe enough to warrant having it. There we go. How's that? My goodness me, we can see each other. So we're working on the fuel manifold that's down here. If we can, I'm learning how to do this, so just apologize while I freestyle here a little bit. I think that's pretty cool. If I can find a body position that works, it keeps it interesting for you guys. Yeah, okay, great. So the fuel manifold's down there now. So as I said in the video, the upper two pipes there one goes to the emergency bilge pump, emergency fuel pump. The other one goes to the electric fuel pump. The one on this side, the upper one, has this hose being attached to it, so I can get fuel from the jerry cans if I need that. So I'm very happy with all of that right now. We've got the strainer that needs to go in, and until this is connected, and until the strainer, well, not the strainer right now, we can do that tomorrow, but until the fuel's connected, there is no power on this boat. The only power that's on this boat is the bit that's left in the batteries and the bit that's been coming in from the solar panel, which is literally the smallest charging unit that we have. At the moment, we've got one of those working. I want to see 4 of those working in the end. So we'll update from 300 watts to 1200 watts. 800 watts, 4.5 hours a day can recharge one of our batteries. So if we can have 1200, 1400, 1600 watts, something like that on deck, then we know that theoretically our battery power pack can be charged back up in just about a day if we really need to in difficult circumstances. It was a bit windy, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly, and had to filter the dregs from the bottom of the tanks. Exactly right. So this was the thing, is that I was going around trying to get it out of the tanks because the pump that was in here went knackered. It was completely the wrong kind of pump. It was not a lifting pump at all. And I realized also that the old fuel line came in and then went up above the strainers over there on the other side, and then kind of went down to that pump. So there was actually a high loop in the intake. So although the pump itself was no more than a meter above the tanks, the loop that went from the tanks up and over, it was more than a meter high. So I think it was very much which tack you were on and what have you. And the capacity of that old fuel transfer pump was ridiculous. It was like 35 liters there in like less than a minute. So you have to turn it on, and then if you get called away from it, disaster ensues when it all comes out the breather on deck. So this is much better. It means I'll be able to call things as I want them, and I don't mind having fuel tanks like this. They're kind of expensive to get hold of, these well, not these ones, they're just I keep pointing over here but you can't see. Hang on, I'll bring it to you rather than keep moving the camera, because I'm sure that's pretty hard work on your ears when you're trying to listen. What I used on Spartan when we went around the world was outboard tanks, you know, because you like plug and play, and they got the little ball float on them. But I actually had a lot of problems with in the Southern Ocean with the ball float, the valves inside it getting sticky, and then you couldn't pull through fuel properly and having an issue there. So I moved over to having, put a little like down below, guys. It really helps the stream get out to more people. If we've got people watching, I'd appreciate that. These kind of tanks, they're super easy to carry. We have a very we have a very deep draft on this boat at 4 meters, 4.5 meters, but the most of the fuel docks don't have that in the places that we go to. So having these and be able to go off with a little cart that we've got to the gas station, thank you very much for the likes. They really help with being able to get things to and from the gas station onto the boat. So when I'm sailing, there's normally always something like this. I'm not racing when I go and do the around the world stuff and the big events. I'm not racing under IRC or anything like that. So it can stack weight. So you can take these, which are about 100, 200 liters of fuel, and put it in the boat wherever it's best to put it, to get it out of the way, to get it to an advantage, just to strap it and have it out of the way, rather than adding giant tanks under the floor and things. Just take the dynamic kind of possibilities of having a jerry can. But yeah, to make it easier would be to have a pipe that just goes and gets, you know, what you do basically is have a carabiner that clips onto this rail, and then have a little pipe that comes up, stick it in the tank, and what I do is have a stiff kind of batten that goes with it, that holds it taut, so that when it goes down into the tank, you can actually find the correct position in the tank where the fuel is. Say hang it off here so that whatever happens, it's the right way up. The cap comes off, This goes in with this little rod in, and then you can get fuel out of the tank. So that's where we're moving to. We have to move there like with some speed here because say the battery's low. We're pulling from the batteries now using the Starlink. I'm on battery power with the phone, but I'm sort of testing a system that I think will work at sea and allow us to kind of make some tests before we go as to what I hope is going to be the format for the next 88 days. Do the video directly after the video, do the live stream, and then do some extra things for Patreon and for YouTube members in the morning or something like that. So I have a set bit where I know I'm videoing, doing this kind of stuff, but it means I'm not having to edit stuff all the time. When you do big videos where you're doing like, I know when I do like the Marine Accident Investigation Branch videos, the editing on those, it might take 2 hours, 3 hours to film it, but then there's 2 or 3 hours of editing. So I want to have a system where I don't need to do that, and this seems to be it with the streaming. So good here. All right. Hello, Rocket Sailing. Yeah, 26 North. VP Racing fuel jugs are by far the very best for transporting any fuel on board. Highly recommend. Oh, I don't know what those are. Okay. Are you, and will you carry an electrical generator too? Yeah. So in terms of generating power, the boat is actually already wired up for a watt and C generator, which was in the cut sheet for the boat when we were buying the boat. But then when we got on board, there wasn't any, it wasn't on board. It's just like, that's how that goes, right? Man, if I had something to sit on, this would actually be quite comfortable. I need like a bucket. I always like sitting on buckets when I'm doing jobs. Just gotta find, well, there should be 3 buckets with lanyards on board this boat, right? Well, here's one. Okay, got it. It does not have a lanyard on it. I'm very disappointed. We'll have to sort that out before we do the getting ready for the Newport Bermuda race. Oh, damn it. Now I've completely forgotten what I was saying. Probably about fuel, something like that. Well, I don't know. We've got to make... Oh, you know what? It was something to do with chat, wasn't it? God, it's like there's so much to electrical power. I've got you right. So... the boat had a watt and C generator on it when we were thinking to buy it. Came and had a look. It didn't have it on board. Did have a little stainless steel like step on the back of it, which met that angled transom, and then had some little gudgeon pintle kind of arrangement on the back, which is where the watt and C went. There's lots of reasons to cut the back of this boat so that you have much more functionality at the back of the boat. One of them is that little weird angled step showed the only way to solve that problem, to have a hydro generator hanging off the back. If the back is angled, the bit that's in the center and at the lowest is the bit where you might attach something. If the boat is flat at the back, you can put 2 watt and C generators that then give you all the capability you might need and the redundancy you need. We'll also have a wind generator, which I'll have so it's mountable somewhere in port, because we're so rarely kind of not moving and using the boat. But when we are like doing this kind of work now, again, I don't want to be connected into the dock. I want to have my own situation here on board. So the watt and C, the power stuff's there, the solar's coming, and then in this massive space right now, which has got nothing in it, we'll be putting the engine from the Open 60. That engine has got a water pump on it and a big 125 amp 24 volt alternator, all the engineering done for it, all the bracketry done for it. And then I can use that engine to power the water ballast on this boat, which is exactly how it would have happened originally. We haven't been using the water ballast on this boat, and we won't until the rigging's replaced. But with that engine in there, we can move water around using diesel power. We do have an electrical pump here as well. It's still 220 volts. I'll move that to 110 later on, and we'll run it off the battery. So we'll have 2 ways of moving water around. We'll have the power of the 38 horsepower. And one thing I was thinking about, which is a bit weird, but we have a nice big shaft drive on this boat now with a 100 horsepower engine, a big max prop on it. But in terms of like get you home and redundancy, if the P bracket gets bent on anything, you've got a massive problem. Meanwhile, little sail drive units sticking out the bottom of the boat for the drag that one of those creates with a feathered propeller behind it, it's almost nothing. And it's like the engine that's in the Open 60 has the gearbox, the sail drive, the alternator, and the water pump already all connected. It's like, why don't we cut a hole through the bottom of the boat and have the sail drive sticking down, and then behind that the propeller coming out as per normal, and then you've got the redundancy of 2 shafts if it's very, very light conditions, you could probably drive the boat with a little 38 horsepower engine, no problem at all. It's just you're never going to be able to make your way upwind. So that's going to drop in here and do all those extra jobs on top of the main engine and do it a lot more economically. But for now, the thing I need to do, oh, we've got 17 people in. I think that's the most we ever had. If you're here, if you could drop a like, that would really help it go out to more people. I'm preparing for my solo transatlantic voyage in this 80-foot yacht Osprey. And here we are, kind of working in the engine bay. The point we've got now is the batteries are low, fuel is in the tank. There's a little bit of fuel in the tank. We probably could start the engine right now. I think the engine start battery's kind of low, so we're going to have to jump it off the 110-volt system on board the boat, but we can do that. The key thing now is I've got to get used to the fact that I don't have to be in front of the camera all the time. I can get on and do some work. So if it's okay with you guys, if you've got any questions, put them in the chat. I've actually worked out that my headset can do Bluetooth across to YouTube here. And other than that, I can press the button and go over and listen to audiobooks, which is what I do normally. So we can do much longer streaming sessions where I don't feel like I have to present everything. I can just be doing my work, come by and see you. If you're doing some work and you want to leave me a question or something, we can absolutely do that. We're going to do this job. We're going to do a few other jobs. I might be out of scene once in a while. If that's cool with you guys, give me a thumbs up in the description. Sorry, in the stream chat. What I'm trying to do is find like the easiest way where I can invite you into this life, invite you into the things I'm doing, answer your questions about sailing, involve you in the project, create a little bit of social media kind of following for what I'm doing, and but also do it in a way that's realistic that I can achieve at sea and do this like every day. So the video was afternoon watch. This is the evening watch. And then we'll do the podcast later on, which is just audio, which is like a night watch product. So we can share and enjoy our love of sailing. So thumbs up, please. I see I've got 7 likes here. I really appreciate that now. There is a way that you can drop a little bit of cash in if you want to support what's going on here. At the moment, we have $250 in the bank account. That's how this is going, but we are very close to leaving France. So yeah, if you want to support what's going on here, obviously Patreon's the other way. Thanks for the likes. I'm going to go and grab my coffee, which I've left here somewhere, and then we'll get on with the job. So I can't leave you with any kind of like lift music, but that's on your side. You'll have to turn up the music while I'm away for a second. Okay, back in the frame there. I think I've got it worked out now, so I can still work with my... there's a couple of things I do on board the boat. A couple of people are asking me about AI and how I use AI on the boat. I'm happy to talk about that if there's interest in the chat for it. I live in an extraordinarily pragmatic universe, as you can imagine, on board this boat. Like, if you're watching some YouTube stuff, I guess what it could be is that people are doing things on the boat. I guess they're going safe, but they've got like quite a lot of support in that there's other people on the boat, or that they're not that far from land. Few and far between are like in a situation where everything you do, then whatever happens next, it completely relies on you. So if I say I'm working with AI on the boat, it's not like I got a new sponsor and it's AI. I've put in millions of words of work. And actually, my original qualifications was as a linguist before I ever went sailing or do anything else like that, right? So have a very interesting, longitudinal, long-term experiment I've been doing with just a ChatGPT model here, which I say, if you guys are interested to hear about that, throw it in the comments there, and we can exchange some information. I found this incredible tool that allows me to do much more each day in terms of dividing off things that it can process for me and make happen very quickly. It's not even connected to my emails. It has no information for me. The way I'm using it is a little bit different than you might expect, but I can just get on with the work, and it's kind of holding the plan. So if you're interested to chat about that, put it in the comments. Some people are into AI and what that kind of means. I've been getting there over the last year, but I've just done it in a very kind of unique way. The other thing it kind of goes with is the 3D printing. I'm trying to make sure that as I get older, I'm 48 now, that I keep like neuroplasticity about learning new things. It's all well and good to be becoming very expert in a particular field, but it's easy to kind of ossify and get stuck with this is how the world is. And then I remember the people that in like 1996, 97 didn't get on board with what the internet is. They just like got left behind. I think what's happening with AI now, a lot of it's kind of bullshit vending machine. You tell it a load of stuff, it gives you loads back, whatever that is. The way I've ended up using it, it's like having a cognitive prosthetic that you can use to just process the simple shit that doesn't actually require, it doesn't require you to do it. Like if it's composing an email or something, as long as it says smoothly and easily what you would have written yourself if you had time to write it out, why can't it write it itself, right? As long as you double check it in the end, it's like, yeah, this is exactly what I mean to say. That means that I can talk a load of stuff into the AI, like literally speak it into the air using text to speech. And then it goes, did you mean this? And it gives me the email and I read it and go, yeah, that's what I mean. Change that. Great. Suddenly the whole, I've got to sit here and write an email, which is a meaningful communication with another human being. And it's going to take 15 minutes to do it. It's like in 1.5 minutes, it's done and the email's sent, next thing. But it's a situation which I've been developing alongside getting help with things that I'm trying to fix on the engine, on the rigging, on the whatever, sales that we're ordering, developing the systems on board the boat with the method that I've been using to teach it and to kind of like compress information into it. What is a $24 a month purchase basically from ChatGPT becomes this like extra crew member essentially. Very, very interesting, let's say, email exchange. It is ultimately text exchange, but because you can speak it and it speaks back, it's like having this highly qualified person that's like keeping track of stuff. If you can use that tool to your advantage in your work, there's a great way of doing it with ChatGPT, which I've been using. I say I'm about 5 million words into it now. So if you do anything with AI, you'll appreciate the fact that if you've got one instance conversation, which is going on for 250,000 words stably and giving good outputs that are still useful, deep judgment and context that far in, it's a very interesting thing to look into. So what it means is that here doing the exchange with you now, the tablet is here and I can talk to the tablet either out loud or just to it at the side, and I'll be asking it things and giving it like the log for the day. And then later on, this very long UI conversation, chat conversation, can then be compressed by another AI conversation, essentially in ChatGPT, into an index format where loads of useful stuff is taken from it, and the actual conversation goes away, apart from if you ever need to get an exact detail out. By taking that compressed conversation, I can make it easily referenceable from a new conversation over here. So the original conversation, condense it down, and then this conversation has access to that index card, which means that all your previous conversations, as long as they're, maybe 40 conversations across 40 different subjects, they are easily referenceable by each new instance. What that means is that on board the boat, I have a system that I can talk to, which can keep track of what's going on from day to day, give me answers to questions I have here and now, knows things that have happened in the past, which is very useful, knows a bit about my past, so I can have like meaningful conversations about things and it not know who the hell anybody is. And it keeps context over months and millions of words of conversation. So suddenly, with a little bit of mental curation, you kind of build this database for what you're doing on a day-to-day with the project area that you're around. Using it like this is very much easier if you've got a particular job that you're trying to move towards. I'm not sure exactly how it would work for just handling like day-to-day stuff, but it's mission orientated when you use it this way. And it means that I have like this buddy that I can chat to and kind of keep my thoughts together. So I won't be like explaining it many times hereafter, but you might hear me doing my work and then suddenly I'll be talking to the open air and you'll hear the response back and you'll start to get a feel for the way that I'm talking to it and the way it's talking back to me, and maybe get a feel for how useful that might be for you in some work that you're doing. So I've kind of outlined it. I'll just use it naturally as I would do anyway. I'm certainly not trying to sell anything. I'm just showing like a new tool that I've discovered, which is a bit like back in 96, 97, where someone said, it's called the internet. You're like, oh really, that's terribly interesting. So that's on my tablet. I'm going to listen to my audiobook. I'm going to get on with some work. And what I'm doing is connecting the hoses on this new fuel manifold system and getting this plate here, which is what we've got here. I think I can get this out and show you. Did I even get it in there? It fits like a glove. There we go. Right, good lord. So this is the second part of the fuel system. Make sure my microphone is on. There we go, good. This is the second part of the fuel system. So the first part was over there with all the valves on. That's the manifold. It draws in and blows out the fuel everywhere. And then this is the new electric pump, which is vastly smaller than the one that was on before. This is about 25 litres every 5 minutes, 5 litres per minute. So it can fill up that tank and you've got a bit of time to make a mistake, essentially. I can set a timer alarm next to it or something like that for the amount of time that I think it's going to take and to have it buzz. If you had like a timer that went between 1 and 5 minutes, then you can just set it, even if it was mechanical, and it will ring and remind you to turn off the pump. That kind of thing's super easy. Everything has to be absolutely as reliable as possible. Where we're going offshore, it's a case of whatever's the most bulletproof method of doing it, let's do it that way, then you don't have to worry about it. So this is a chopping board. Clearly it was a chopping board. It had a little handle that went across here. The other one's still got its handle on over there. Pardon me. But it's the exact perfect method of mounting something like these filter and this pump situation here, so that we can have it easily accessible. Everything's held on with wing nuts and locking nuts. This is cheap to buy just a filter alone and get the body with it. So it's quite possible that you can see that this is all kind of tarnished up and varnished inside, or you've got a leak seal or something. You can just change the whole body out. It's almost as easy as having the filter on board, right? Obviously, storage is not that much of an issue for us. Same with this little pump here, wing nuts on there, so you can have a completely separate one in storage, although this thing's like good forever. And it's basically sucking in fuel at the bottom here, 24 volt pump. It'll prime to a meter. Once it's down there, it's only about, I don't know, like 30 centimeters, 40 centimeters maybe off the bottom of the fuel tank. So when I can select either the tank that's in the center line, or I can select one of these two tanks, and I can select then that on top of the tank. It means this pump can pull in from 3 different directions or from a jerry can, and then it can send it off into the day tank here. Once it's in the day tank, what I want to be able to do is be able to polish the fuel. So this tank has got a conical bottom to it, which is like Well, cool, because it means that you can't have a collected place in the tank where moisture is sitting underneath the diesel. If the tank's got a side to it and it's sitting over on one side like this for a long period of time, the tank above it, which is empty and is made of metal, it's got a breather attached to it. So in the daytime, it's going to get warmed up by movements and sloshing of the fuel, pulling in and pumping in warm air from the day. And then at nighttime, the same sloshing action, the same moving action will move that cool air inside. So you're going to get a moisture inside the tank is going to condense on the inside of the tank walls. And that's going to drop microscopically over time, particularly when you're in warm environments, a lot of moisture in the daytime, into and sit in the bottom of the tank. If you move suddenly to some other angle where collected amount goes zoop into the fuel intake, then it's going to go in. Now, we've got a strainer in place here, right? So we've got a cartridge filter above, and we've got a sediment separator down there in that little, oh, what do they call those things? They're so standard. Why have I forgotten the name? Whatever. The fuel water, yes, separator system with the little float bowl on the bottom, a very visual kind of mechanical, might feel a bit over the top for some yachts. This thing's like a foot tall, right? So that system here, though, then is the next part of the system, which has then got the secondary fuel filter, which is over here, which is like, is it like 1 micron or something like that? It's the last filter before it gets to the pump. So we want to have it that no part of this system is suddenly overwhelmed by a big glob of collected moisture, which has come out of the fuel tank. So we want to have a conical bottom to our tank so that whatever goes in, it's all right there immediately. And every moment it's being drained out by the next cycle of the engine. So small amounts are going constantly down. So this is it's a stripping tank of sorts. Stripping tank normally is a tank that has a valve in the bottom of it, so that when the orientation is correct, you can strip out the moisture and the kind of contaminated fuel from the bottom corner of the tank. This is a kind of variation on that. It's a gravity feed tank because it's above the engine. So although the engine's fuel pump is still fully functional as a normal lift pump for fuel, it's now under no pressure at all. Even if it stopped working, the fuel would still get to the tank. So alongside this, we've got the emergency fuel pump over there, which means we can manually pump fuel. So you see what we got. I've also got like 10 different methods. I've got 5 different methods for sure of moving fuel by the shaker siphon hose, the electric, put it in the pump, transfer hose, the pump one that you squeeze like this, the kind of Chinese style one with the red top and the clear body. I've got the drill pump. I've got a stirrup pump that does. I've got so many ways of moving fuel around, because in the event of things going wrong, you have to be able to get the fuel source to the power source that converts chemical potential into electricity that runs everything. So in terms of understanding where your priority's got to be, this has got to work like right. So mounted on this kind of board, it's got a bit of shock absorbing ability maybe. This is aluminum wall here, like a fire retardant wall, and then it's got insulation on the back of it. It's a mess, but I have to start here, and then the goodness in the engine bay will just spread out from here, I hope, in my dreams. I'm also fitting everything in here, thinking I'm going to get the engine from the Open 60 and put it into here with its fuel pump, its water pumping capacity, with the pump that's on it, with its power creation capacity. And we overhauled that engine, and it basically hasn't done any work since when is that, 2020, 2021 we were doing that. So 38 horsepower, it is basically the exact same engine that would have been in here originally. Fit everything here now, ready for that. And then we've already got an exhaust here. We've already got an intake here. We've got space over here for the control panel for it. Like, it's a bolt-in operation. We can bring it down the companionway and put it in with a bit of a grunt, drill the holes in the right place. We'll have all nice fuel manifold system over here, and then our conversion center where we convert chemical power into electrical power, and we convert electrical power into like thinking power and lights, and being able to be safe on the water with navigation and communicate with home, and everything else comes from there. So lots of respect given to this area of the this like squid looking thing with all these pipes on it. It's been ignored for too long. Now I'm kind of like, I'm going to start from there, like lift it up from there, right? So that's what I'm doing here now. I say what I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to my audiobook for a little while here and just kind of get on with things and give you a bit of time to get on with stuff. Thank you very much for the likes. If you're new here, I'm alongside in Cherbourg. We're on the 80-foot yacht Osprey, which I'm going to be taking solo transatlantic in the next 4 days, 4.5-ish days. We've got 2 crew places still available on the Newport Bermuda race. If you're interested in doing that, have a look at csmthemariner.com and get in contact with me via the contact page there. We've got 18 out of 20 people confirmed now as crew. I'll be sailing the boat. I'll be skippering the boat, and well, you'll be following along on the channel to see what it is that you're going to be sailing on. I've been doing this for let me see, like 30 years I was working out the other day. So I started doing sail training on board yachts when I was 18 years old as a volunteer in Hong Kong with Project Trust, the UK charity, working for Outward Bound Hong Kong, who had a 144-foot tall ship. And there was 36 trainees on there, 55 of us in total with the crew and everybody and the instructional staff. And then Clipper around the world race as the skipper on Qingdao Clipper. And then solo around the world on the Open 60 Spartan in the Velux 5 Oceans race. Since then, I've sailed another 250,000 miles, all on Volvo 60s, Whitbread 60s, super yachts, race boats of various diminutions, and then most recently here on Osprey, which is a very specifically designed, one of only 8 built, maxi from the 97 kind of time period where everything went to 60-foot boats because of budgetary amounts, because of the speed that potentially it has at 60 feet compared to 80 foot like this. But in terms of crew comfort and reducing crew fatigue, it's a very, very good boat. 80 foot is a great length when you're in. It's not so good when you're trying to surf on waves, but it's pretty darn useful when you're on waves coming towards you. It was a design that kind of boats went away from, but as we talked about previously, I think it's the point where boats were at their very best in terms of sea kindly and including crew comfort and reducing crew fatigue. And then when speed became the bigger demand, they went away from this design and they went on to boats with much flatter bums. And that's what I've sailed around the world before. This thing upwind is like on horse galloping as opposed to a horse trotting, which is what an Open 60 is going upwind. I have tens of thousands of miles experience to back up my claim, right? So with this boat, we've got this like rare breed boat. Now you think, well, at 80 foot, the size of the rig, the size of the mast, everything else, surely it's too big for one person to look after. This is a fractional rig. On this kind of boat, the top of the mast hasn't got any stays or shrouds on it. It's completely bare. So the cap shrouds come up, go over 4 spreaders, and then they join the mast at the hounds. And then there's another 15 feet of mast above that, and the mainsail does go up it. So when the mainsail's up there, it's suddenly a 2,150 square foot mainsail, and it has the fantastic power that you might expect to drive a hull which is 25 tons. This is a very heavily built Kevlar boat with a massive aluminum frame going through the bottom of it. You can see down in here some of it perhaps peeking away behind this board. But the boat is hugely built, but the boat started to go a different direction, and that doesn't really help, but it's down there anyway. It's like a giant beam. The work, come on, I'll work a bit on your behalf. I'm imagining that anybody that's sitting watching this kind of stream is probably okay with me moving the camera around a bit to have a look in the, it's like revealing the darkest nethers of your boat. Like it's the dirty engine bay. Let's have a see what we can show you here without messing everything up. Okay, so you can see in here, there's massive frame over here, and that frame over there. Yeah, and this guy over here. This is just the tail end of the massive frame which runs through the center of this boat. What's interesting is that that one and that one are actually the center of the boat, and everything's a bit asymmetric at the back of the boat because the entire power package is meant to be an auxiliary engine that was here, and then there's quite a lot. Maybe I'll just turn you around here. Sorry, we're not doing the best job here on the lighting. Can I help? Oh, I can help. Here we go. Down in there, God, it's like showing you up grandma's skirts or something. This is terrible. We can see the alternator. I could get the lid off. I'm sure this must be kind of what you see when you go on boats. Look down in there. The engine's not looking too bad. It's got a smaller alternator on the left. I think I don't know if this thing gets flipped around. You'll work it out. The alternator that's up against the green thing is the one that does 12 volts, and that puts the power into the start battery. And we have a parallel to another separate battery that just gets charged, never discharged. So it's always available as a spare. And then over here is this 125 amp alternator, which gives us up to, well, I've never pushed it beyond 100 amps, but 100 amps into the two lifetime batteries. We've got 24 volt 100 amp hours each, so 200 amp hours. We've got like basically 180 amp hours available all the time. So that power package that's missing from there is completes the kind of build out here in terms of that it's the same way that the main engine is generating power, but it's on a much smaller engine which has a lot a lot less fuel requirements. So suddenly you've got a boat which has a very, very reliable core to it in terms of power generation. But then also, if we get some more modern technology going, like the Watt and C generators off the back, and some solar and some wind for when we're in port, we very, very rarely need to ever call on this stuff. It's just, it's there if we need it, which is how you run a machine, which only job, the design, the 80-foot length, the way it just smashes waves out the way, that rig which we're talking about, yeah, so the upper part of the mast is completely unstayed. When that first reef goes in on my mainsail, which has got 5 reefs we talked about before, that first reef that we put in drops it to the exact same size as an IMOCA 60. The 4 triangle comes up and meets the mast fractionally, so when that mainsail comes down, it joins it. Suddenly that shape, that's an IMOCA 60. It's the exact same sail area that I'm used to sailing around the world with, but on a much stronger hull. And I want to take advantage from the fact that she can make very regular, very low fatigue on me progress across any kind of ocean. When you try and do things in an open 60, upwind is just a terrible, terrible place to live. Bearing in mind that I want to take the same boat and do the West around the world record attempt afterwards. This trip around the world doing the Global Solo Challenge is me warming up to my very deliberate thing of going around the world. So this engine bay is a little bit asymmetric in what's going on here. The choice of the boat is a little bit asymmetric. If you just want to go and do the Global Solo Challenge, why not get a class 40 or something, or have an open, I got the open 60 back in Nova Scotia, right? Cut the keel off, have a new keel bolted to the bottom of it if we can get the original designs from Fino Conch, and then go say, absolutely I could. But what I also want to do is I'm trying to balance out, I want to do the other trip west around the world. And this boat then, its ability to go upwind and downwind, I think is faster than anything else that's ever attempted to do it. I know there's a trimaran doing it at the moment. We're talking about monohull boats. That's my choice because obviously you see how I like to run a boat. Ultimate survivability of the boat is the most important thing to me. So I can never, like from a logic node, I could never go to trimaran and catamaran for going around the world because I personally want a boat that I've got a pretty good chance that it will roll back up. Bearing in mind with this boat, we're going to now also include some of the technology from the Open 60 I have, which has got water ballasted tanks. And that's having a valve that you can pull, whereby if you've got ballast in a tank and it's helping to pin you down, you can let the ballast water back out into the ocean. There'll be enough pressure. The boat doesn't end up like submersing itself in the water. It goes up on top of the water with the mast down in the water like a bath toy. There's so much buoyancy inside of it that even when it comes up, it doesn't like submerge in the water as it gets tipped on its side. So there's always, if there's a valve on the side of the water ballast, you can let the ballast back out the tank, or if you're on the side that's submerged, you can flip the same kind of valve and then it'll let water in from the ocean into the side of the boat and start to tuck the boat further and further down so you can roll it back up and come back up in the Southern Ocean. So there's things we can transfer over from the Open 60. Lumping in its engine here allows it to continue and be kind of part of what's happening next. The idea here with doing the West around the world record and practicing for it doing the Global Solar Challenge is 2 things that I need to fit into my future in the next 2 or 3 years, right? So what I want to do is get this engine bay so everything here is as redundant as possible for those 2 adventures, which must be some of the most serious adventures you can take a power package on, and then make them completely redundant basically by using solar and using the Watt and C And then if I'm stopped, I can use the wind generator in port. Like, that's great. All of this super clean, never need it. So that starts here by getting all this lot bolted together. There you go. That's a full-on explanation as we go into our first hour here as to what's going on. Let it always be on notes so I don't have to explain it every time. All right, I'm going to listen to my audiobook for a little while and get on with some work. If you've got any questions, just stick them in the chat here.
Like the Javara far away in the air.
Okay, let's make a note today that I met with Sylvain. He's going to come and help me on Monday, and that I spoke to Chris on the phone, and I talked to Bodo, who's going to be joining us on Sunday to look at berth for the Open 60. Can you compress that into Captain's log, please? TTS check. TTS check. Okay, I just want to make a captain's log entry, so just compress this for the next index card. Today I met with Sylvain, and he's going to come help me on Monday with the putting down the plate on the bow, and spoke to Chris. He's going to join us for the Newport Bermuda race. And what else do we do? We have been putting the fuel manifold together, the plate that's got the Marco UP3 pump on it, and the Delphi 7111-296 fuel filter on it. So I'm going to install that now below the day tank, and then we're going to have to look and just, I think the only thing I'm a bit confused about is pipe diameters and whether we've got the correct pipe on board. That's the only potential problem I see, but then we need to get the engine started as the batteries are very low. Please note also I am now using Starlink wired into the boat on 24 volts, so that's helping. And we've done the video for today, and we're doing the live streaming now. Okay, good. Oh, nice to see people here. Hello, everybody. Tell me where you are. Very interesting. Don't seem to be getting much updates on the chat, so be good to hear from folks. Yeah, whereabouts are you in the world? I'm in Cherbourg, France at the moment, getting ready for this trip. I'm going to change my shoes out to something that I don't mind going down the bilge in. It's funny how your opinion suddenly changes of like how to treat the bilge when you spent days and days and days cleaning it. Suddenly it's like, oh, actually, you know what? If there's no crap down there, then maybe it won't get all oily and bacterial and nasty. Now, there's another thing we might do here. Sometimes with this, it's better to be balancing somewhere rather than kneeling, because you can really start to damage your knees. I've actually got like a little infection in my knee and a hair follicle in my knee, and I know that that can develop very quickly into staph. So I take that very, very seriously. There you go. I think we're still a bit of a fade out from my headphones there. I'll just make sure that everything's still connected as it should be. Yep, looks like it's all good. There you go. Don't know what's going on with the chat. Oh, hey, I just found a button on my chat. Oh. Oh, hang on, there's loads of extra stuff. I don't know what was going on there. Hang on. Wonder if the batteries... Okay, wonder if the batteries in the portable torch on the bulkhead there are any good. Okay, well spotted. Let's check. Total trust. I know exactly that the batteries are done. There's the thing where you're on the boat and you're like, yeah, I'll do that. And in the end, the day comes where it's actually like, now I've got to do it. So that day had already come. The developments I've got going on here rely on the fact that every day it's like the army of one. That's how I kind of see it. That you wake up every day, you got something you need to do. Obviously, I also have a family life. I know how that goes as well. But you got, okay, I have to do this thing. So every day, every version of you has to like do its part towards the army of one. Like, what are we trying to do? And the problem is, if there's no actual plan, well then tough shit, right? Every day, each version of you is like, sorry, what are we doing? So being on the boat, it's like the ultimate objective is very, very clear. So I leave tools like clustered together on the floor and just keep going around and doing a little bit on every single thing. I obviously have a kind of ADHD kind of mind. It means I'm never getting bored of one particular thing, and it's getting better all the time as I go round and round and kind of each new round of going around things. So what I have to do is keep the fact that over a period of time, in the end, all those things that you are going to do, if you just keep grinding and grinding every day, they get done as well. They just get crushed beneath the wheels. Even if you're lazy some days, you don't turn up other days, even if you have to go around and clean mold for the umpteenth time because you haven't been on the boat, it's still action. Is the more action I take, the more progress I make, right? It's the harder I work, the luckier I become. So just making progress here in little ways and trying to get things moving further forwards. That torch up there is an absolutely essential part of going doing the sailing. So after a while, coming down and checking the day tank here, and then oh, where's my head torch? It's a bit darker than I expected. This is a white painted boat inside, and there are actual skylights here, little skylights, so daylight ports here, right? What are they called? Port lights, deck lights, deck lights here. Bits of Lexan cut by Kat. Thank you very much, Kat, if you ever see this. Very beautifully, and my cutting with a jigsaw was so abusive to the material. I let Kat, who does very fine woodwork, have a look at her YouTube channel, Kat Think Woodworking, Finck, Kat Think Woodworking. She put them through the table saw and brought them out beautifully for me. Or maybe the chop saw, something I didn't know how to do, but whatever it was, we've got nice clear light in here. So you come down, you think, oh, you can look at the tank. It's a bit darker than you expected. Having the head torch there and be able to, the torch there and be able to grab it is absolutely important. And you'll notice that the torch specifically is one of these energizer ones. These are really, really good to have on the boat. Here in every tool bag, in every like operational bag, like the rig cutaway gear and the collision and grounding gear and the emergency steering gear, these torches are everywhere, and they're in all the bunks because they're the floating ones from Energizer. So the batteries are down here, it's sealed, it's got retroreflective tape on either side, and it's LED, so it goes forever, right? So if you're in a situation where someone goes off the back of the boat, particularly when you're going downwind, I think I saw in one of the other streams people asking what you do in the event that someone falls off the back of the boat and you're under spinnaker. The first thing all the crew are trained to do is to get these and start throwing them off the back of the boat in like regular intervals. So you throw one, and before it goes out of sight, but not too early, throw the next one, and just keep doing that and getting anything we can get that we can throw in the water that leaves a trail of where we've been, because the torches are hydrostatically locked into the water and they're shining through the night like this, bobbing around on the waves. We have to get the spinnaker down. The fastest way of getting the spinnaker down on a boat when you're in an emergency is the exact same way that you get it down the rest of the time. If you get it down efficiently and smoothly with the method that you normally use, which you should have your own method, whether it's a snuffer or it's a rollaway kite, or you've got your crew doing it, or it's a Kiwi drop or whatever you're doing on your boat to get it into the forward hatch, it's always got to be clean. It's always got to be smooth. So in the emergency, you're going to know how long you have to keep going for. So if I'm doing 10 knots, there's a joke. If I'm doing 15 knots with the spinnaker, that's okay. Yeah, 15 knots. You're doing 15 knots, like averaging 12 to 15 knots. That's a pretty good range under spinnaker. I don't think you'd be much below that unless you're really ghosting along. If I'm doing, let's keep the math simple. If I was going to do 12 knots every minute, as I'm traveling away from the person, I'm extending the gap out between us, right? Every minute that I move away from them, I'm still going at 12 knots, and I can't do anything about it until about halfway through the drop, perhaps, where suddenly it disappears. If I know that the drop is going to take me, how long could you, so some chappie falls off the back, man overboard. Okay, everyone's milling around. If I can get the crew. I did an experiment with my clipper crew when I was in the South Atlantic in 2010, where I mimicked a man overboard, but not like you normally do, where you have people. I hope the audio is working well here. If you do see the audio is working, please say. Oh, Camilla and Tom, hello. Hello, Phil and Inverness. Had a little lag, sorry about that. Taking a big change away from the cloud. It's good to have a personalized instance. Absolutely, you can, yeah. Okay, so I gave them a man overboard experience, which is unlike the, oh, thank you, great. Audi is great. You know what, I'm buying an Audi. I'm not going to get distracted here, but I got to tell you, can I show you a picture of it? It's not expensive. I feel like I'm trying to explain it to my mother. It's not expensive, honestly, but it's, I've always wanted one of these. It's a very, very me kind of car. It's an Audi A8. Oh man, I got to think about 2 or 3 things at once here now. Okay. So it's the one that Audi built, all aluminum body, which is great because I live in a part of the world in Nova Scotia where they put a lot of salt on the roads, and we want salt on the roads because it's very dangerous without. It's all-wheel drive. and we're using it specifically to get from home to where I work in Massachusetts, and it's 1,000 mile drive. So we've done quite a lot of going on airplanes, do backs and forwards doing the work, but you can end up with like terrible delays, really unexpected delays that lead to a lot of like discomfort. So the idea is to have a vehicle that will drive from Nova Scotia to Massachusetts simply as a vehicle that can like propel from one place to another in the most comfort. So you arrive with no fatigue, which is kind of like what I was talking about with this boat. You can see how the same mindset goes across the same thing. Oh, hang on. Oh no, this is terrible. I can't. That's terrible. I thought my satellite was working here. What's going on? Oh, well, you have to imagine it. It's an Audi A8 and a very special one that was commissioned by Audi in North America as their limousine for their executives. So it's got the full executive package in the back of it, which if you're doing a long journey, which you intend to do over 24 hours and drive and stop and sleep and drive and stop and sleep, which is exactly what I do on this boat when I'm crossing for days and days at sea. You need to be able to lie down in a particular kind of comfort. The that vehicle has the executive package, so it goes almost like slopes down quite a long way in the back, so you can kind of lie down in the vehicle. So if Kat and I do the journey together, one of us can be relaxing entirely. Isaac's in his high chair in the other passenger seat, and the person that was driving can now take a full rest while the other person drives, and we can get there as a family very, very quickly, limited only by what's comfortable for Isaac and nothing else. So it's a vehicle which there's no interest in the market for a vehicle like this because it's a 15-year-old limousine. There's only one time that kind of vehicle is good for anything, and it's like when you have a long drive that you're doing every 2 weeks, 1,000 miles. It's like, oh, so I'm going to have fun with that. It's kind of like this boat. It's the best tool for a particular reason. Okay, so hang on. What were we doing? We were. So I did get distracted by the Audi comment. That's it. I started talking about the Audi, and that was the end of that, right? I see your comment, Camilla, about the battery monitor. I gotta tell you, it's a happy story and a sad story at the same time. I do like tangents. It's a happy story and a sad story at the same time. I had a nice one from Renogy, which had an alarm on it, which actually like bleeped when things were getting low. I didn't ever listen to it, but at least it was there. This new one, the Victron one, I bought a Victron battery monitor and then I lost it. And then after time, the Renogy one died, which I was very sad about. I might have accidentally pulled on the wire and broken it, but who's to know? So I went and bought another Victron battery monitor, fitted this one, and then the next day found the other one. So I now have two of them. So I've been trying to work out, like, is there actually a legitimate reason? I guess the engine start battery, although I think that's shown here. But yeah, I think the kind of hard cut out hole there is probably best just wind down a bit further and put two of them together and then put one for the engine battery and one for the house batteries. And then like, okay, that's good information. Even if later on I do upgrade it, there are some battery monitors which actually give you some pretty useful information. I'm trying to think what the are they called Blue Sea? Blue Sea, they make pretty good battery monitors. I think to have those on the Open 60 with like a digital display. That's where like, oh, this is really useful information. Dang, well, I don't know what that other tangent was that I was on, but I better get on with fitting this lot into the boat. I feel like it was something to do with the iPad. Well, the Audi was to do with the iPad, wasn't it? Good Lord. I'm so easily distracted. I wonder anything gets done. Alrighty. There we go. I've changed the audio, so I'm listening to my audio book and I can talk to my AI thingy. And I don't get any kind of copyright strikes for anything playing. That otherwise I'm hearing like absolute silence, doing what I'm doing. So this situation down in here, I need the knee pads on. So I'll be doing the same now as I did the last couple of days. I'll be awake for 48 hours, so I've got to like reduce fatigue in terms of working on these things. I can't end up with sore knees because I'm still going to need these knees like 20 hours from now, right? So you better to have something down in here. If you're doing this at sea, you can have a pad like this, but the pad can fall off the engine strut if you go over a bounce, and then you suddenly whack your knee. If the pads are attached to you, then they'll still normally attach to you when you come back down, right? Now we finally get down to like the last details of exactly how this is going to happen. All the little jobs that you pushed back, suddenly you have to actually do them. So now I've got to work out how to fit the panel in with the... Uh-oh. Do I need to re-drill that? No. Say it ain't so. No, we're good. Okay, so one detail there. All right. I think if anybody's continuing to watch this, it must be pretty interested. Let's try something here. Let's take this for a walk. If I do this, is this not a way that you can see what's happening here? Hang on, if I do that, I literally can't get back in the space. All right, let's try that. How's that? That's not too bad, is it? Oh, that's kind of interesting. A little bit up close and personal. I just have to adjust slightly where I'm resting in between movements here. Oh yeah, okay. All right, so we've got, you will be able to see some of this, but we've got the pump on here and the fuel filter. I'm just going to get this up. There's pre-drilled holes in the board that go into pre-drilled holes in the bulkhead. I've just got a little issue here where this union is very, very close to this. There's clearance, but I've got to turn around the bolt so it goes through the other way. But I can do it because there's a cutout here. The wing nut will be something I can get from behind. So that's what's going on. Okay, let's turn the... oh. No, don't you go that way. Not need you losing you on your main engine. That's the bolt on. Back on. Oh, that's interesting. There's one of those little things that use for securing. Let me move this down a little bit. Capture myself here a bit more. There we go. The little zip tie wire holder things, you know, there's one of them like tucked up at the back here. I'm not going to be able to get the screws out of it, and the screws stick out as much as it does. I guess we've got to take it off somehow. Maybe I can get one of those screws out. That's the problem. If you start to say to yourself, I'm going to do this right, well, then you've got to do every bit of it right, which is pretty bloody annoying when... Like, this must have been put in here by the original build crew 30 years ago. It's behind the day tank, right? And it's as supple and as useful as you could ever want from something like this. As opposed to the new ones, which would be brittle inside of a year and dropping their load. Good God, let go. Maybe it's made from Kevlar. Whoa, 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 whoa. diesel leaking here. Yikes. The valve that should never be moved got moved. Diesel might be useful on the tools. Right, we must be more careful. These little emergencies are always sent, aren't they? Let's just see what people are up to. Yeah, exactly, the big hammer. It's got to come. It's just stopping my little new panel from folding flat if I don't get it out of here. Oh man, doesn't want to give up. Oh, mother of God. Oh, it's riveted, okay. Interesting. That's interesting. It's not riveted now. Well, that's a lesson, of course. Always use the head torch properly. I thought it was a stainless steel fastener with, screwing through, holding it on. Let me show you what it is. Trying to use this neck-mounted torch so that I don't blind you every time I look at you, but it's pretty it's pretty hard work to do anything with it on. Where's that guy gone? What? There's a few twisted pieces of it. Where's the majority of it gone? Oh yeah. Oh, there we go. There you go. So it's just that guy. It's one of those things that you put a zip tie through and it holds wires, but it wasn't stainless steel fasteners, it was aluminum rivets. So I managed to knock those out of the way. So this now will go right up there, nice and flat. Yeah, that's better. That's worth the effort. Oh, Houston, we have a little problem. The valve, which must never be touched. No. You know, when I was building this, I came in here and I patterned everything out. And then when and I've dropped bloody diesel again. Okay, well now we know. And then when I went over to cut it, to drill the holes in it rather, I realized that, hang on, how much diesel have we got moving down here? Not that much. Every diesel leak is another opportunity to get the oil out of the bilge, right? All right. When I made this board, I patterned everything up, and I actually had this with the fuel pump lower down. And then when I got it out onto the side there, I thought, you know, well, surely it can go up a little bit. Let me move this up. So can we get somewhere where I can actually sit this vaguely comfortable? Oh, there we go. Bit of a Jackanory. Okay, so yeah, when I patterned this out, there was a bit of time between me doing it and me drilling the holes. So I came back to the job and thought, why on earth did I pattern that with the fuel filter so low down? Like, that's so silly. You've got all this extra space. And then I didn't I didn't follow the pattern. I just drilled it where I thought might be useful. Which is kind of like the exact opposite of what you do when you make a pattern. Oh, and I messed up the washers as well. Interesting. Okay. So turns out the difference between where I patterned it here and where I drilled it here is the difference between it hitting the little handle that should never be hit, which at the moment is a separate stopcock there, which is stopping diesel draining out of the Vibe based. Could the day tank rotate out of the way? Oh wow, I see lots of other things on the chat here. Could the day tank rotate out of the way if you disconnect the bottom part? It's got big bolts that attach it. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'd be like a big deal. They're also through bolted, and they're through bolted into the nav station on the side. Which, as one person, I can't get to both places. So yeah, it would be nice though, wouldn't it? Vibe based drilling, exactly. Vibe based patterning. I'm into normally my like cardboard aided design, my CAD design. Let me just think. Okay, that's the other piece of that. Okay, so I've got all the pieces of it. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, got that. And then 1, 2 on the bolts. I do not want to leave crap in here. Every time I go in this bilge now, I want it to be better than the last time I was in there. Otherwise, it can't get better. Like, I'm feeling like there's quite a lot of diesel here next to me. There'll probably be more by the end of this. Okay, so we got to drill this thing out again. All right, this we can do. We'll just take you and turn you around, or we'll put you back where you were, and you can go back attached to the battery. Remember, if we don't get this done, we have actually no power. Like, everything will go dead here. So this stream is going to continue basically until this thing is fitted, and we can get the engine started. That's the ultimate objective for this stream. Just get the engine started. Okay, so we got here. We're going to probably be a little bit lower down, I guess. Well, they say people like raw footage, how it is. Well, this is how it is. All right, let me go and get the... Oh, no, the drill's already there, but it needs a bigger drill on it. Yeah, I think what we're going to do is drop this like really right out the way. Now I see what the situation is. Where are you? You're over there, so I've got to come back here, then you can see what I'm doing. My seat. Okay, so this guy. And then I guess I better do this properly rather than on my knee as I would normally do it. Okay, so on a boat like this, you got to keep like a chunk of wood or two, so you can do jobs like this and pop some underneath something else. Now, so we're going to move this. We've changed one of the pipes there that was kind of key to the previous design, so we're going to drop this right down the hell away from that valve. Right there. Line up the side of it. Try and tidy up as you go. I do have a vacuum cleaner, which I'll be coming through here with later on as well. Right. All right. Pretty convenient to be able to get everything back off the board pretty quickly. All right, let me get this fitted now. All right, that's back on. Making sure I get my washer stacks right so that this is an area where vibration would be a bit of a problem if the fuel filter suddenly like starts to hang off the wall. I see people writing in the chat. I'll have a look. All right. Refitted back to the configuration that should work. Let's move you back over into a position where we can see. I can read the comments at the same time. What are people saying? Yeah, exactly right. I'm pretty good at keeping the tools tidied up. Like I try and keep things, and at the end of every job cycle, I tidy them up. But if you get anal, like whilst you're working on the each individual job, I think you drive yourself to distraction. Unless the sea is moving around, you got to be a bit more careful. Yeah, leave enough space under the filter, and that's why I think when I changed the position, my vibe-based drilling methodology, I think it's because I was trying to leave as much space as possible for exactly that I could drain diesel, but I kind of overestimated exactly how much that was going to affect everything else. We'll double check it now. There we go. This is great because I'm listening to my audiobook, which is what I do like 20 hours a day. I can talk to my AI doodah over there if I need to, and it's not a copyright strike. Otherwise, I have to do these streams. We're going into like 2 hours here, like streaming like completely silent on board on your own working is not much fun. That's great. There's a thing I made. Oh, over here, right. Hang on. We can at least be so I have it so you can see what we're doing, surely. Yes, I cannot wait for this to get done, and then we can actually have some light in the boat other than just exactly where the torch is. There you go, that's a bit better, right? That's better, good. Okay, so this up here. This is the stopcock here that I was talking about. This was the feed probably for the secondary engine, and then there's a proper fuel cutoff valve here. We need to emulate this for both of these. But what I'm hoping is that we can take the secondary feed, put it into the polishing filter, and then we can polish and drop the fuel back in. So that even though we've got a stripping tank here that gets the moisture down, we actually drop all of the unwanted moisture into here before it even gets here, before it even gets over there. That's the big theory here. right, that's perfect, right? So I think originally, yeah, I was trying to leave enough thing here, and I had this pipe coming in quite low behind here, behind the this fuel strainer, coming into here. I realize now I want enough movement on this so I can get everything shifting around. So the pipe's actually outside of everything, or it's going to be in a second. Okay, so now we need this guy, and it has to go in. Now, I'm pretty sure that when I did this previously, there were 2 hex-headed bolts. And now I discover there's a hex-headed bolt and a Allen bolt. That makes me think something's fallen down in here. Oh, there's the top of that rivet off that thing we took out. Pieces of cut off wire when I've been doing electrical work. Someone's been doing electrical work. PTFE tape, almost certainly me. What is going on here? I'm not sure if this is a very flattering angle you're getting in me, but it's necessary. Well, a little screw, but that's not what I was looking for, but useful. Oh, I see a washer. We need to fit a webcam underneath the engines when we get the second engine in here. We'll never get anything out of here. If you drop it, it's just gone. This bilge does wash down into the other bilges, so it's not too bad in the end. Bits of plastic from drilling. Aha. There's the wing nut that we dropped. You've got to be a little bit careful with stainless steel when you've got aluminum composition in your boat, right? It's the two don't like each other. when they're mixed with salt water, and certainly if they've got any electricity in them. No, can't see any there. Okay, well, that's kind of a little bit disappointing that they're not the same. I might just go and find another bolt. As you saw in the video that precedes this live stream, if you haven't caught that already, there's a video over on the main channel, which is the kind of the wind up to this. We've got a huge amounts of fasteners and components that we have on call, try and fix every problem. Be nice to be able to drop something in now that's the same as what's already there. Maybe this is why we ended up with two things the wrong thing. Well, that's pretty good. Okay, oh, there's the other rivet. Okay, that's all the pieces of that thing. Wonderful. Some washers here. We've got some, that would have been a better washer on there actually. This looks like it's the right thing though. We've got the nuts here. Yep, that fits. Lock nuts, or the locking nuts, so we don't need that. So really we are going to need that guy back out of there once we've put this in. Cool, all right. Plastic side out. Nicely distribute the weight around on the head of the bolt here. It's a bit fiddly to get this one in, if I remember. Okay, interesting. A little problem here. Okay, next problem. Remember to leave some likes if you like, guys, if you want to learn more about boats, more about fixing things at sea, driving boats across oceans. Subscribe to the channel. And if you want to get extra content, go over to patreon.com/The Mariner. There's also the Mariner podcast where we discuss seamanship and all aspects of sailing. And the Mariner's Library podcast where I do the serialized readings of old sailing books. So there's lots of different things to keep you interested, whether you're able to get on the water or not. I've got to work out some better solution for this now. It's just a little problem. Okay, we're good. Seem to have lost the detent on the my ratchet here. Means the two things are separate more than they're connected. It's not very useful when you're trying to hold things with one hand. Hang on. Oh, I gotta get the other washer on here. All right, we've got ourselves a thing here. Okay. Still feel like there's diesel in here, but we'll sort that out later on. Okay. You've been with us for most of this. We'll do another 45 minutes here, see how many people this goes out to. Oh, that's what the fast forwarding wine's for, right? Okay, so we've got this set up here now. We've got this guy wants to go up in here. That's where that's going to sit. Hang on, I suppose we can just do this kind of stuff for a second, can't we? We're all so used to being on video calls with friends and family now. I can just put the phone in for a second so we can get everything lined up. Here we go. All right, so we've got the polishing filter in, we've got the electric pump in, we've got the fuel manifold, we've got clearance under here to get this pipe on. This is the pipe that's going to come in now from the other side and going on to there. Yeah, and that leaves clearance for this pipe because this pump is mounted on top of that. So I need a piece of pipe now that goes from here into here, actually. It's the one like big twisty roundy one that I have to do that goes, oh no, into here, sorry, beg your pardon, into here. So this one comes down from the manifold above and goes in here. I feel like we're missing a pipe clamp off there. Hang on. We're only going to slow ourselves down if we don't put a pipe clamp on it. Can I get you like balanced somewhere in here on the engine, then you can really see what's going on? That's sort of, well, you're probably going to fall off, but there you go. Got a little tub of pipe clamps here. Oh, looks like got one right here. So get this guy up or above, below, doesn't make a difference. Just keep it out of the work area maybe. So this guy's on here. Yeah, you okay there? Right. And then the bit I think I'm a little bit nervy about. Is this at a funny angle on here, or is that just me? And I think this board sticks out a bit further than the other one does for some reason. I'm going to work out why that is. There we go, it's just trapped behind it, a slightly different attitude. I can maybe back off those bolts at the top, just reset it a little bit. Okay, So pipe clamp here. This pipe clamp needs to go underneath, so it's easy to see when it comes time to release it. Right. Really? Did I get rid of that? Where do tools go? I guess this happens to everybody, right? It's like, where do they suddenly like disappear off the face of the earth? Bit oversized screwdriver for this pipe clamp. Ooh, stick the screwdriver in your finger, why don't you? Yeah, pull back around a bit. Alright, that feels like it's very nicely on there, not too tight on the pipe clamp. Lose a little bit of the spring from the rubber. We've got the wires here are going to go up, and then maybe up here. We'll trap them underneath those things. That looks pretty good. That's our connection point here. This wire has been spliced so many times. I have a look at this before. Look at this. I think there's another one back here somewhere. There's someone's connection there, someone's connection there, and I think there's another connection up there. This one. The connection here, connection here, connection here. I swear there's another one back there. So we might just cut that off and start again, although they all look great connections. Like, that doesn't even need to have any breaks in it. Like, what am I going to do? Like, I suppose I can't connect them directly, can I? No, that's going to take them into a... It would be nice if they were tucked up behind there and not hanging across the front of all this. That would require removing these pipes or cutting this. Maybe cut all of this and connect them together back in there. I'll have a think about that. Or maybe get a junction box and put a nice little junction box there. That might be a better way to do it as well. Actually, I found a nice little black junction box the other day that would go in here quite nicely. Like right there, have that drop into it, and then have another piece that comes out from the junction box and makes a nice connection here. And then same here, make a nice connection, junction box, and then have this thing coming up into the junction box. So I think I've sold it to myself now. Okay, so we'll do that. There you go, we'll just take the phone for a bit of a walk around, get you connected back into the battery. Alright, well, if you're enjoying this stuff, give me a thumbs up if you've been watching. There's 13 people on right now. I'd love to hear where you're from. It's aluminium, the bulkhead. Aluminum plate, about 2 mil, 3 mil thick, and then there's foam behind it. On the other side of the day tank. So let me find... Let's put some lights on in here. Just pause my audiobook. While I'm talking to you, I've also got an audiobook going on my headphones here. So let's go back to this for a second. I've just got you connected to a battery here. I found a box the other day, which I was amazed about. I moved it, I think, to here. Is it here? No, not quite here. So the first aid kit is in there. I moved it to, I guess, over here. Destroying my... Yes. I kind of lost a few things that I knew were on the boat, and I was trying to work out where's X, Y, and Z gone. And then I found this cool box. Let me just disconnect the battery for a second. I was like, oh yeah, what did I put in here? I thought on my previous boat, inside here was regulators for the alternator, just 2 regulators, and I think a Balmar charge controller was in here, and that was it. So I thought, well, what's in here now? And I discovered that previous Chris had made this little, look at this, like a gift from previous Chris to put all this lovely stuff in here. I just realised there's like zillions of fuses, and I just bought loads of fuses the other day. Oh well, there you go. What's all this? Little contact strips, little bus bars, or whatever they are. Regulators. They're the regulators off the alternators. You keep those in case you blow up the regulator on the alternator. And then a nice little junction box. And then the magnetic screwdriver that you need for the Balmar charge controller. So let's get that out. I do like it in the Army of One, where previous Chris has like thought ahead. Now I didn't remember that it was in this box, but it's in here somewhere, right? It's on the boat somewhere. It's like I find things like that, and I feel almost like someone's looking after me, and I realize it's myself previously trying to help me out. You know, you have a clear idea of what you're trying to do, what the goal is. At each moment, you keep helping yourself towards that goal. It's pretty hard not to be successful if you just keep grinding out the repetitions, right? So let's have a look at this little box. Yeah, I might be short of the very small bolts that need to go in here, but I just used one of these on the grey water tank. So if we take this and include this in our design, it looks like it just needs 2 small screws to go through the back of it, which we've got loads of. And then I think previous Chris also, yes. Come on, come on. I know you're in here. Right. I'm fighting there, but we've got these Wago connectors, or we've got the other kind of connector, which I would call a chocolate box connector. So we've either got this kind of chocolate box connector, which are popular here in Europe, little bronze terminals in there, and you cut off as many as you need, which we'd need just like, well, we could do pass-throughs. We just need 2 of them, that'd be easy. Or we've got Wago connectors, which are very, very nice, which I could easily go for as well. So we'll have to see which one we want to choose there. Get a double Wago connector. Triples. I do like the Wago connectors. I got to say, like in North America, we use the... I don't think I've got any doubles. I've only got triples. Okay, well, I suppose we'll see. I want to be a little bit conservative with my equipment if I can as well. In North America, yeah, we have the wire nuts, which are used for lots of wiring around the home in lots of situations. When I was in the UK growing up, like I think my dad might have ferreted some wire nuts out of somewhere to use on a job, but they'd be like frowned on as kind of like a pretty Heath Robinson way of connecting wires together. People want to have these kind of like screw connectors and what have you in Europe, or nothing, or certainly the Wago is the other option. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna need a drill to drill this in, aren't I? Hang on, let's put you back over here as you can't see the job, and I can see that people are actually following along what's happening. Oh, that's it. I've managed to poke you into a very secure little spot there now. Great, you're sitting on top of the engine turbo. Okay, so I'm thinking we get this guy. What do we got here? This is the wire that's coming up from our pump. We can bring this in here. What connections have we got? Oh, we've only got ones on the bottom. Okay, well, sure enough. I can go in there. It's going to need to go in from the top. Okay. Okay, we'll have to reimagine this box. If it's got holes already made in it, I'd rather put them at the bottom. Then they at least drain water out. I'll put this guy up through one of these and then just drill another hole in the top for the other. We'll have to get some little grommets. They sell grommets at the Chandlery, actually. I've seen those. doing a little bit of I'll drill right through that. Well, if I could take out that grommet, you actually move it across where there's an open hole in the... No, I remember doing this the other day. They're so old and dry, it just ain't going to happen. So let's just fast forward through that bit. Okay. And pick up all the bits of black plastic I threw inside the boat on that first turn. Yeah, okay, good. Everything, of course, is like all crushed together in one little spot here on the side of the frame. Trying to like make everything happen in one little tiny spot. You know what it's like. Okay, so we've got an in from the top here. We need a set of wire cutters. Good for the knees, all this stuff. Oh no, is that you? Don't worry. Maybe it wasn't as secure as I thought it was. It's like talking to Grandad on the phone, isn't it? There we go. That's not too bad. What's going on in the chat? Anything interesting? Oh, no problem, David. No problem, David. Nice to see you, man. Okay. There we go. All right, let me get the wire cutters. I say it's good for your knees, all this stuff, in and out, in and out. Take the maximum we can take. Now that is actually ready to go. I've put that on there preemptively. So if we can get that through this hole. Oh, previous Chris, very well done. Oh, but we're not going to be connecting like that. Okay, well, almost useful. Yeah, that's going to be perfect. Can you put it on top of this? Put it over this hole where the board comes around here, so I don't think that's going to work so good. So we'll go over there instead. All right, you need a little drill. This is going to go up through here. I put all these nice connectors on, and like so. I have to cut that other guy. I was hoping I could chase it up in there and have the ends of the wires covered whilst they were in there. Oh, there you go. Let's put some strain relief in there as well. That's going to be our connection. Let's get the rest of the tools we need. Oh. All right, everybody good? Thanks for all the likes. Really appreciate having people stopping by. Whenever you put a little like in or subscribe to the channel, that really helps me a lot. Thanks very much. I've got a couple of little pan head screws here with slot blades. You know, I don't really use slot blade for anything on the boat now, but it's a case of either throw the hardware away or like screwing this box in through the nylon. Like, okay, whatever. Like, I'd rather use the equipment rather than just throw it into a landfill. Let's just make sure that I don't drop any of this stuff in the bilge, if that's possible. Oh, what was that? What was the drill? I guess that was understandable. Okay, got those guys. This guy change out. Whoa. Okay. This material that the chopping boards are made out of is just fantastic for this kind of work, right? Just don't take the piss when you're screwing stainless fasteners into it. Okay. I'm going to change gears here and use a slightly shorter screw. I think the ones I selected are a little bit too long. I can feel it pushing the board out slightly. These are fantastic screwdrivers. You see these Klein screwdrivers? I was introduced to these by a cat. They have this end that pulls out, which when you see this from like a Chinese manufacturer and it's super cheap, it's just a nasty thing. But this is like super high quality, impact grade. And you can change all these bits around. So you've got the fact that this is a little hex, is that 10 mil there? And then I think there's an 8 mil over here, or 1/2 inch and 3/8 or whatever it is. And then this one is, you can swap it around. Each of these bits can be swapped around. So you have like 11 different things it can do in a really nice format, which they're saying this impact one is designed to be hit as well. So I'd probably use this if I was hitting a screwdriver, but it makes a very like good in the hand ratcheting screwdriver rather than ones that have just the chucks in the end, which if it's a nice snap-on one or something, then fine. But I found these to be very good. And every time I use it, I always think of Kat, which is nice because she introduced me to it. Okay, so we are now going to use the little screw, which I had just here. Hopefully I haven't drilled out a hole that's too big behind it. Or maybe a little washer. Yeah. I do feel like that other bit's pushing that out a bit, so I'll back that off for now. Yeah, I can improve that. All right, well, we can come back and do little improvements, but what we're going to do tonight is get this thing working. So I'm not going to get too caught up in bits and bobs like that. Now we've got to make a few connections here. I'll cut this with these snips. Really? Oh, I'm going to get a knife. Okay. All right. Now, where's the next tool we need? This guy. Strip the end of it. And then this one's ready to go. This one looks like it needs trimming off. Okay, now we get two of these. So we want to connect one of these through. Oh, there's power in here as well. Oh, hang on, do we need to drill another hole here? Oh, yeah, all right, okay. This is where our other part of our plan was, wasn't it? Okay. That connection looks pretty strong there. If we can get that round the back. That's going to go in there just fine, I think. Yeah, I think we'll cut there and there. You know, these are completely reliable connections, right? Why would I cut them if they're working absolutely fine? See if we've got enough to do what we want to do. Okay, I'll cut everything as long as it can be. Maybe some of it needs making a bit shorter, but if we cut it as long as we could possibly need it to be, and then you don't need all of it, great. But it's hard to, you know, make it longer after you've cut it shorter, right? That's a pretty messy. Put clean that up. I can see there's some corrosion on the end of that guy. There we go. Into the bin. Right, I feel like I have dropped some Wago connectors down here. Yeah, I thought so. No problem. Tight like a tiger down here. Now we're going to have to drill through the side of that and introduce those wires. I think we can do that retrospectively. Oh, it's tricky to count up to 3 reliably for sailors. Pick up all the crap. We've got loads of slack over there. However, if we're going to attach these, I guess we've got to make a decision now about how they're wired in around the back here. Okay, I'm just getting the wires set up so that when they come in, I can zip tie them into a convenient position. Get maximum length on this. Yeah, I feel like there's way too much. There's way too much conduit on these. It's like pulling them. The wires are much longer than the conduit makes it seem. Any questions about sailing? We've got about 15 minutes till the end of the live stream. I don't think we're going to get the engine going, but we'll be pretty close with all of this stuff wired in here. Yeah, this looks better. Oh, you know what? I could actually cut those out of the... Yeah, okay. Oh, nice. Oh, we could actually cut those off and lose a lot of... Oh, yeah, I'm taking that opportunity. Okay. Again, cutting them as long as I can. I'm even cutting into the shrink wrap that's on them. I'll pull the shrink wrap off here. Strip them back. We get past all of those... if they'd somehow been useful, I was happy to go for it, but it was pretty... Hey, come on, buddy. Oh, it's not cutting. Why am I not cutting? There we go. Okay. That did not work. What's going on here? This is very... You bastard. Okay, we've got our lines coming up from our pump. We've got these ones going from the switch. And we've got these guys coming in from This is the power coming into the area. So let's trim away this piece of okay. Right, great. Okay, got 2 wires going into our new junction box. Oh, yay. Keep pulling out. Oh, put them in together. There's no power on them. The switch is turned off at the main junction box now. Okay, now they really want to pull out, so I'm going to connect the first of the things here. Okay, connect onto this side. Oh, hang on. Let's remember the design here. All right, good. Wish there was a bit more length on that. I guess the screwdriver. Is that backed up enough? All right, good. Right, then we want to connect in these guys to get the motor to connect up. When that switch is thrown, then we're going to connect up these wires down here. So we want to get the, let me think here. We want to get the power coming from here. Okay, so that goes up there, comes back down, goes out of there, so these want to be sprung in together. Right, got it. Is that right? That goes out there. Black one goes. It's the problem with being tired, eh? After a while, you're like, hang on, what am I trying to make here? The other thing I've got is that I'm listening to an audiobook at the same time I'm talking to you and doing this. I've got like B.V. Larson, Undying Mercenary playing on my thing. I've got like actually think about some wiring here. Okay, so the power comes in, power goes up, goes back down, needs to be broken by the interrupter switch. The interrupter switch is powering the power back. So hang on, so the power doesn't want to go. This is for the side that's broken by the switch. Okay, so the switch needs to be on this one and this one. That little bit of extra length there is helping us select a slightly more convenient stud on this connector. Right. Get our little strippers in here. How are we doing for time? Only 6 minutes left. Going to limit these a little bit, otherwise it just goes on and on. But I'll be still working here late into the night. It's I'm not sure what time it is here now, but probably about 11 o'clock at night here, something like that. But I'll be working right through. So we'll come back to this tomorrow. And same thing tomorrow, we'll do an afternoon video on YouTube, and then if you follow the afternoon video, it'll go into the evening stream. And maybe we do a podcast in the morning to kind of like round things out. Right. The only one that's going to be a bit short on distance here is maybe that one. It needs to kind of go in from the top. Not sure how that's going to work. Probably just a bit of wiggling. Like, it's an extra hassle doing all this. The wires previously were just connected together in midair. But this is the right way to do things if you can. Having proper junction boxes, known setups. And then what you can do is take pictures of the interiors of junction boxes, mark things out, like it doesn't take forever to do it, and then keep it in whatever's the electronic format that you're keeping things in, or just print it out and like have it in a binder of stuff. Just print it out on paper, put it in a binder, and then you know what's inside every junction box before you open them up. Okay. Didn't really do anything with AI at all this evening. We were going to do some AI stuff, weren't we? But well, the thing for me is, I tell you, I don't call it AI either. I use it the term SI, like synthetic intelligence, because by the time you blend it together, its online abilities, looking through the archives that I've created for it with my system, and its normal reasoning abilities, it really is a bit more than just artificial intelligence. It's kind of a blending of what you know and what it knows in a new kind of synthetic form, which is how it's able to be such a help for me. So yeah, synthetic intelligence is what I'm interested in. Okay, got everything nice and tight in there. I kept the block long, so I had the ability to kind of manipulate it in my hands, so I wasn't fiddling around with something that's so very, very tiny. And then we just cut this off. Now we've got what we want in here. Let me come up underneath this wire. There we go. That should put a little bit of strain relief into those guys. Is that helping me or hindering me, that extra bit of wire we had? Yeah, okay. Not 100% happy with that, but it's pretty in there. Not too bad, hey? Okay, and then we have a little front to go on this. Not looking too bad at all, right? So that is just kind of held on right then. Now, I know that it actually needs a bit of some screws in it, which it hasn't got, but it should hold there now for what we're doing. So that's our motor connected up, and we've got the conduit tucked in underneath these wing nuts here. Stop them from coming undone whilst we're bouncing around. That's all solid. All this looks good. Just check the valve cock there. That must not be pulled. That's all functional. That can maybe do with a bracket holding that up out over there a little bit. It's just kind of sagging down and it's damaging the nipple on it. Okay, so then piping for this. Got the emergency in now. We've got the main tanks. We've got the reserve. So we need to connect the pump in here and go up to the top up there, which hopefully previous Chris has planned for. Let's see what we've got here in terms of hose. Yeah, okay, we should be all right here. Let's get you connected back onto the battery and stuff so that we don't lose you for the last couple of minutes. So, we're at 2:59, dang it. Well, we'll go a little bit over just to have a see where the final parts go here. It's nice to do these, as I say, but I'm ready to go and have now something to eat and something to drink and recoup my sugars after I did the initial video and then uploaded it and waited for people to watch it and then came onto the stream. It's like 5 hours since we started, so it's time to have something to eat here. Okay, so we've got our switch, and then up on top of the day tank up here. Oh, hang on, I have to move you a little bit further. Okay, you can get seasick going on these journeys with me on this camera mount. Although I guess if I'm just relaxed about it and don't worry, I've got these on so that I don't blast you with a head torch all the time. I say it makes it pretty crummy for me. I can barely see anything, but sure. We've got these up here. These have been blanked off the entire time I've had the boat. The main one here is coming from what is my emergency pump. We'll get that fixed to the wall in the next couple of days when Sylvan's here. There's the returns coming up and going in on this side. Then there's a breather going up on deck. And then there's I guess it was another return and another feed. No, not feed. This would be a return, and this would be probably another vent or something, or like I don't know what this was for, to be absolutely honest. What we're going to use it for is the output from the electric pump is going to go here, and then the emergency pump's over here. This has got a huge diameter on it, and that's good for a pump that you're operating by hand. This has got a smaller diameter on it. I think we've got the right size of pipe here, and it's perfectly okay because it's the same size as the barbs on the electric pump, so pretty much getting the most you can from it. So if we get the screwdriver, get the Klein screwdriver. Maybe we'll take all the tools out of the bilge before I move microscopically and everything goes flying everywhere. We have captured all of our crap in this little tub, which means it's not down the bilge. Oh, hey, talking about tub. I watched the first 2 episodes of Miami Vice for the first time ever. It wasn't last night, I slept overnight whilst I was working through the night the other day. It was brilliant. Does anybody follow Miami Vice? Let's look at the chat here. I want to see what's going on here. The cable controlled valve at the bottom of the valve. Okay, yeah, good call. So it goes over. Oh, is it going to work? There. Emergency engine fuel shut off, right? So that's the all of the electronics. Well, a lot of them. They're probably going to. It might stay there if this is an engine room, but then. Well, that was weird. I got into one of the accessibility settings on my phone and wanted to tell me what was going on the screen. So yeah, there's the engine fuel cut off, fire extinguisher, horn for the batteries. Obviously, engine starts up there. The main bilge pumps in the salon are there. Something I want to also develop as well. Get more bilge pumping and more bilge pump control. But the the idea here is that you can come pull on that by just leaning around into this area, cut off the fuel supply, although you still will be running through what's in the secondary fuel filter, the primary fuel filter, and the fuel lines. So it's not going to cut off that quickly. Then there's a little compartment you can open on the side of the engine bay and get the big fire extinguisher and shove it in there to stop the fire if that's what you need to do. What we're going to do, so let's get this off here. What I'm hoping is that this other, let's turn this around. What I'm hoping is that the other nozzle that's here, this is going to come from the other side of that fuel polishing filter that we put down there, so that the electric pump can then pull from the tank, that one that's on the bottom, the one that basically is a stopcock there now, and it's just open. I want that to go into the fuel filter, and then the manifold can pull from there. That small nipple on the other side, I'm going to have a Y valve on it, and then you can pull from the filter into the manifold, out the pump, and into the top of the tank, so you can polish that way through the filter. So we'll use that next, but right now we're going to use this guy. That came off nice and easily. Get this guy out. Like, it's not good when you got like this kind of scenario in lots of different places. I just took a lot of this stuff off the water system the other day as well. 16 likes, thank you very much. So I think it's the most time we've had that many likes. Had up to 20 people watching at once through this stream. It's been pretty enjoyable. So yeah, there's a video that goes at the beginning of this, which we did this afternoon, the afternoon watch, giving a wider update. And then this job here has been what's going on this evening. When we do the stream tomorrow night, we'll probably be up the mast, tensioning the rig, I think. So join me for that if you're interested in that. After I've done this evening, I'm probably going to have something to eat. I'm going to go outside and put another layer of filler on the side of the boat. But getting this done means the engine's starting to run, the battery is starting to charge, and then I've got the inverter charger will then give me 110 volts to go and sand the side of the boat. So I didn't sand it before now, otherwise I'd be like sanding it by hand, which is a bit silly when you've got a depression and you're trying to sand it flat, leave the depression, fill, sand it flat, leave the depression, fill. If you start doing it by hand, you start sanding inside the depression, which is a bit of a waste of energy. All right, so this guy goes on here. Is that correct? Yeah, pretty good fit. Certainly with a clamp on it, it's a pretty good fit. I think we'll just run that on right now and leave it on. Ooh, could have maybe done with a slightly smaller diameter pipe, but we'll take it. Yeah, we had a good day today. A couple of people signed up for the Newport Bermuda. Talked to them on the phone. So those funds are coming in. Remember, all the money that comes in from the sponsorship goes directly to the boat. So we've got to pay the bills before we leave Cherbourg. But the good news is we've done all the work in Cherbourg that I would have done sitting in North America, and I've done it with access to cheaper chandlery and more skilled help. So I ended up getting a better deal from the situation than I might have expected. Okay, this down here. We'll find our way past our little box that we created down here. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so live streams from the crossing. So everything I'm doing here in terms of doing the live stream is me practicing for what's going to happen at sea. So we're running on Starlink tonight, and we're running on a battery for the phone. Obviously the phone's got its own charge. We can charge it from the boat, but I can like power pack that up with the battery. I'm going to be able to see at the end of this how much it costs me on Starlink, although I'm alongside here in Cherbourg, so there'll be no cost because the Starlink Mini campaign, Starlink Mini services. Hang on, I just got to get this phone bracket sorted out. It's starting to slide. The Starlink won't charge me for being alongside and doing this kind of thing, but if we can see how much data was used for doing a 3-hour stream, or what's probably going to be a 4-hour stream, then I can say how much that will cost me when I'm offshore, because it costs you more when you're away from land than when you're alongside doing your thing. So, oh, that's nice. That just goes around the edge of our box in a very satisfying manner. That's a nice find. And then there and down on top of that. Well, that's all quite jolly. Good. I'd like to see that. Get the knife. I'm going to turn this back around again so you can follow the action here. There we go. The stream, you can't change the stream, no. So what I do is I adjust the output of the videos. So when we do the videos, I do them in 2K. Hang on, maybe just angle this up a bit. I do them in 2K when I render them on CapCut. I do them in 2K because when YouTube takes anything, it downgrades it by one step. So from 2K, when YouTube renders it, it renders it at 1080p, which I think is what people want, particularly when it's lower light conditions like this. And then, hang on, let me just cut this. And then, oh, I told you that wasn't screwed on properly. And then for the frame rate, I keep the frame rate down at like 25 frames per second. The frame rate, basically you got 24 and 25, which just relates to, you go for 30 rate. If you've got American electricity running TV screens and running lights behind you, they're often flashing at 60 hertz. In the UK, is that right? Am I thinking right there? Yeah, the 24 frames per second is like the minimum for movie. 24, 25, oh, I don't know. It's to do with some... What I do basically is I use a very low frame rate, but one that just doesn't kind of make too much problems for most people who are watching it if there are screens in the background. I think it's 25 frames per second. 30 is also available, I guess. That's the hertz frequency, to avoid the frequency... what's the word, synchronicity with American electricity, but I keep the frame rate down and I keep it at 2K, and then it renders very quickly and it transmits very quickly. When I've done videos in the past, I was rendering them at 4K and sending them at 4K, and then that's a huge amount of time for CapCut to process that on my phone or the tablet, and then it's a huge amount of data for it to go up and down. So I got wise to that, but the stream is just as the stream is. Okay, so we got our hose cut here. We need another little clamp. Now, the question is it going to go, does this hose go on this pump? I have been a bit nervous about this because I've got a bit of a mix of North American fuel pipe and European fittings here. So let's have a quick see if this is going to make sense. Oh, like a glove. Well, I never doubted a thing. That worked perfectly, exactly as designed. Lovely work. Always good to see a professional. There you go. It's a good enough guess. That's all I needed. Kind of would have liked that pipe clamp on the other side for aesthetic reasons, but I think we're past that now. All right, and then we are down to, still feel like that's angled at a very funny angle, that pump. Somehow it's not quite on that board. Oh well, that's, I think future Chris can work that one out. Let's just go down a little bit further on the camera here. Okay, so then the weakest part of my plan right now I know of is that oh no, that one and that one should be fine actually. I take that back. That should be fine. Huh, okay, we're pretty close to finished here actually. There's a weaker part coming, which I think this nipple over here is a bit the wrong size for what I want it to do. I do have an alternative though. Oh yeah, about the 8th time I've hit my head on that this evening. So we got to get from here to here. Oh, that's pretty convincing actually. Almost like I thought this out a little bit. Right. Oh my god, it fits perfectly with the hose that we've got available. Holy mackerel. So let's make it so that the pump wires go backwards, the pump can come off there. That's it, it works. Okay, so we just need a couple of clamps. Just give me a thumbs up if you're still there. I'm still here. At my dad's funeral, they played Elton John, I'm Still Standing. It's kind of a little bit tongue-in-cheek by my mother, but it was also a fantastic comment on the man. But I often think of it when it's late night and I'm sort of working my way through these problems. So I'm still here. If I just keep doing the same thing every day, I must make progress towards what I want to do. Get a little kink in my pipe clamp there I've got to work out. There we go. Right, so get one on here. Zoinks. Oh, whoa, my my barb is turning in its socket on the manifold. This is not the way it should be. At least with the barb, it doesn't really matter. There's no line up or anything, it's just a case of turning it in a bit more. I think I was nervous about that one being the right size, so I maybe didn't tension it up. You can see it's got loads of tape on it and everything. Cool, it is the right size. I feel like it's... I really didn't tighten that up. So what was I talking about? Sorry, so practicing the doing the live streams now is all lining up for doing the live streams at sea. I'll know what the power usage is. I've now got the Starlink running on straight on the 24 volts rather than being inverted. I've got the data all set up on the Starlink, you know, so we can actually handle the amount of data that needs to go through for a stream. I've got the editing sorted out for the videos. All the different parts are kind of coming together. So hopefully being able to stream live from the open ocean. I tried doing that a little bit with the 360 videos. I don't know if anybody watched the 360 degree videos. Some people liked them, some people weren't so sure. I think there's a way of doing that where it's the 360 camera, but I edit what it creates. Basically, you can put it into an editor, and although it's a 360, you actually focus on part of it, or you can move the awareness around so that people get to feel like they're on the boat and doing whatever I'm doing on the boat, but there's not the kind of drunken feeling of being in a on your phone in a 3D video, which I think for some people that was a little bit of a step too far with the technology side. But some people enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty cool. You never know who you're gonna have connect with you or what it is that I think one of the 360 videos I did, there was an older chap who was been following what I was doing, and he was enjoying the fact that he knew he wasn't going to go back and out and do another like Transpac race or something, but he enjoyed the 360 video because it was just like being on the boat at sea in that environment, you know, with the red lights on and it's late at night and all that stuff. If you've experienced it and you've been there, you know there's nothing much like it. Maybe you've been in the military or the first responders, a similar kind of feeling of like being awake when everyone else is asleep and on a mission. Something that's quite easy to create with the 360-degree videos when you can then, if you get bored of what I'm saying or doing, you can just have a look around on your own. Okay, so that's that one on there. Okay. Alrighty, so, let's get all the things out of the bilge now, so we can keep our nobility and not chuck everything under the engine, then have to go scrabbling around under the engine looking for it. And the Wago connectors and the drills and everything. Then we'll take you and have a look at what we've created. Yeah, so we're going to go there, we're going to go, yeah, that's cool. Alright, let's have a quick look at this and then we'll sign off. I'm sorry we can't get the engine started on the stream, but I wanted to do it for a particular amount of time, so I'm going to do 3 hours and 30 minutes, and then I can make a judgment about how much data we used and how much battery power we used and all that kind of stuff. So I just get my finger off the lens. I certainly learned to become more relaxed about what I'm doing this evening. Okay, so we've now got this that we have created here this evening. So we've got some lights on it. We got, I think what took us longer this evening was putting the junction box in, which I wasn't really expecting, but I'm really glad we did. So we can select now if we want to use the emergency fuel pump, which I'll attach when Sylvan's here, he can help me connect it. This will be off most of the time because we won't be using it, but it's got a large bore pipe going into the pump, and it's got the large bore entryway into the tank up at the top here, right? We get that on the wall there, get rid of the old one, pump, pump, pump. You can pump fuel then. You can pump fuel when this one's open from either here, which is the main tanks going off that way, or you can pump it from the reserve, which is in that position there. Yeah, they go over each other, that's cool. I think I did make it previously that these two handles actually interfered with each other by turning that handle round, so you couldn't like have both open at the same time, but that's pretty tidy. Okay, so we're going to go for the reserve, I think, on this first go. This one is going to have the extra pipe connected to it, which is down here. And I just need to look at like maybe, I like the idea of having the ball valve to kind of like pump up the fuel out of the diesel can and get it up to the top of this pipe. So I just might want to swap that guy around. It has a direction of flow there. Although I think I can probably plug into this a different way. So we'll probably go this way. It's got some reach on it. Is this going to go on here? Hello, nurse. Can you go on there? Yes. Alrighty. Okay, so that's going to be behind the strainer, and the strainer is going to go on here. And you'll have all of this, and I'll connect another piece of pipe to this that then has the stiff kind of like thing on it, so you can go down into a jerry tank. And then when you pump on it, you're pumping it out the jerry can, and then into the manifold, and this will just be curled up and live in this corner. So that'll get its own little, I haven't got any little pipe clamps at the moment, so I want to leave that. So if we want to suck from a jerry tank, then we can close off this one, open this one, and then we can suck from there. At the moment we're sucking, so we'd have to choose which one of these we want. Oh, the handle's bent. Oh, you see that? See the valve move? That's not a good sign. Ugh, gonna need some more tape in there. All right. So this one is for the electric pump. It's a bit round and round the houses back here, and I'm going to have to check about my, but there needs to be something Yeah, that's not too bad. Oh, that's actually out of the way. So I'm going to be able to make my connections to my polishing filter later on, which I'll do after this. I don't need one in there. I just need one here, one here, and one here. So I can do all that pretty easy. They will have one coming down out of the fuel tank here. It's this little guy that's just hanging out in fresh air here. This is where the fuel came from accidentally earlier. It's going to go up and go into... Oh, get it behind there. Don't spill any more diesel. It's going to go up and go into there on the tank. So you can suck from there. And then the outgoing will be, I guess, over onto this and be a Y valve on here. So that you can then select between polishing or select between this scavenging tank. And then when you suck in from there, it goes back into the tank and gets polished. But what we're going to be doing mostly is select the reserve, which I guess is over here. Turn that guy off. Turn the electric fuel pump on. We've got our wires all made up in there. And then that guy is going to hopefully give us what we wanted, which is a proper usable system. I need to mark this up. I need to put a legend up here so that I understand what it's all for. Mark everything up. Still not happy with this pump. It seems to be a bit wonky. There's something pushing this board out from the wall. I'm going to have to investigate that, but it's easier to investigate a few things and do a few detail bits of work than it is to build the entire thing. But there we go. We've got something which I think we can be proud of and is useful and is a different kind of level of competence than what we had before. I've just got a little clip down here, it looks like. I might be able to clip on this. Come on, buddy. You can stay here if you... Oh, yeah, here we go. That's good. There you go. There's a kind of clip in that corner which almost clips the cable in. Guess we'll have to work out a bit of a system for that. It's not looking great. We'll get something that can hold that, like a little rope clamp or something that can hold that there. But suddenly that means that we've got the ability in the next couple of minutes. I'm going to get something to eat and drink, take a little break for a minute, have a smoke on deck, and then come back. But look what we've made suddenly. Now I've got a lovely brand new, well, not brand new, a newly renovated fuel separator, which is onboard Falcon that we did. Get that in, clean up some of the stuff that's going on there, and then get foam and put the foam across the wall at the back here. And we've actually got something that looks pretty professional. We've got to hold this guy up like that, like we said. Yeah, this one's up here, does its work. Yeah, so we're looking pretty good. So I would say I'll have a smoke and a wander around and get some sugar, and then get some power to this transfer pump. Make sure it's pumping. I'm going to put lots of rags underneath it because I suspect I'm going to get a few leaks off this fuel manifold on the first go, but it is on the suction side, so it should cover a lot of it. And then get fuel in the tank, and then get the main engine started. Yeah, there we go. No worries, guys. It was great to hang out with you. We've got the 360 stuff coming, and it is very good in big seas. It's absolutely amazing. But thank you very much for stopping by and watching me this evening. If you want to put a like if you've watched this, enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. I think a lot of people here are already subscribers. And then tomorrow morning I will increase the output I've done today. Today I did the video and then the streaming. Tomorrow morning I'll do something on Patreon and do like a podcast episode, and we can get into a bit of a pattern that we can then enjoy and keep doing when we're at sea. But from here on board Osprey at 11 o'clock at night. It's still early. I've still got another 24 hours before I go to sleep at least. So I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.